Phoebe, I have a question for you.
Of course, Joey. What's on your mind?
What does a perfect evening look like to you?
That's a surprisingly difficult question. I thought I'd have an answer right away.
Really? I was expecting you to describe the perfect dinner in the first 10 seconds.
Well, good food is definitely part of it. I'm not going to pretend it isn't.
I knew it.
But the more I think about it, the more I realize a perfect evening isn't really about one thing. It's a feeling.
That's exactly what I was thinking. Every evening is different, but somehow we all know when one feels just right.
So, what does your perfect evening look like?
Honestly, it isn't very exciting. I get home, change into comfortable clothes, make a cup of tea, and enjoy a little peace and quiet.
Really? No music? No movies? No big plans?
Not usually. After a busy day, quiet feels like a reward.
See, we're completely different. I love coming home to a little music, something delicious for dinner, and maybe a walk if the weather is nice.
That's what makes this interesting. We all relax in different ways, and none of them are wrong.
Exactly. A perfect evening doesn't have to look the same for everyone.
And today, Phoebe and I are going to spend the evening together. We will talk about the little habits, funny moments, and simple routines that make the end of the day special. Actually, before we get started, let's say hello to everyone who's joining us today.
Great idea! Hello, everyone, and welcome to Speak with Joey and Phoebe. I'm Phoebe.
And I'm Joey.
We are so happy you are here with us today. This podcast is for anyone who wants to become more confident speaking English through real, everyday conversations.
So whether you're a strong A1 learner, building your A2 skills, or just starting your B1 journey, don't worry if you miss a few words. Just relax and enjoy the conversation.
We'll keep things slow, natural, and easy to follow. Then, at the end of today's episode, we'll review some useful words and expressions you heard along the way.
So get comfortable and let's spend the evening together. So, Phoebe, let's go back to the question we started with. What really makes a perfect evening?
You know that feeling when you're almost home after a long day? Maybe you're driving, walking, or getting off the bus, and you suddenly think, I can't wait to get home.
Oh, I know exactly what you mean. Sometimes I'm still walking home, but in my mind, I've already changed into comfortable clothes and made myself a cup of tea.
Yes. It's funny how our brains arrive home before we do. By the time I unlock the front door, I'm already thinking about relaxing.
For me, that's the moment my evening officially begins. The second I close the door behind me, I feel like I've left all the busy parts of the day outside.
That's such a nice way to describe it. It's almost like the front door separates work from home, and everything immediately feels a little calmer.
Exactly. I don't rush anymore. I put my bag down, take off my shoes, and suddenly I can breathe a little easier.
Really? I do things in the opposite order. The first thing I do is kick off my shoes, because I've been waiting to do that all the way home.
Fair enough. So where do your shoes usually end up?
Right by the door. Most of the time. Every now and then, one slipper ends up in the living room, and the other somehow disappears.
That sounds familiar. At least your slippers stay together. My bag always goes in the same place, because I've learned that lesson the hard way.
Oh, now I need to hear this story. What happened?
One morning, I spent almost 10 minutes looking for my bag before work. I checked the bedroom, the sofa, even the kitchen, and then I realized I'd left it in the hallway the night before.
That's not too bad. I once looked everywhere for my keys, and they were still in my jacket pocket.
I think everyone has moments like that. Have you ever walked into a room and completely forgotten why you went there?
More times than I can count. I just stand there looking around, hoping my brain remembers before I walk back out.
I'm glad it's not just me. Sometimes I open the refrigerator, stare at everything inside for a few seconds, close the door, and then come back 5 minutes later to do exactly the same thing.
Let me guess. You weren't even hungry.
That's the strange part. Most of the time, I wasn't. I think I was just hoping something interesting would magically appear.
If that ever happens, please call me. I'd love to meet a magical refrigerator.
Deal. You'll be the very first person I tell.
You know, after all that talking about refrigerators, I'm starting to feel hungry again.
I was just about to say the same thing. I guess food finds its way into every evening conversation.
It definitely does. After I get home, I'm usually thinking about one important question. What's for dinner?
Do you enjoy cooking after a long day, or does it feel like another job?
Honestly, it depends on my mood. If I've had a busy day, I like making something simple. Nothing fancy, just a meal that doesn't take forever.
That sounds sensible. I actually enjoy cooking in the evening because it helps me slow down. Chopping vegetables, stirring a pot, and smelling dinner while it cooks feels surprisingly relaxing.
Really? I never thought of cooking that way. I'm usually too hungry to enjoy the process.
So you're telling me patience disappears the moment you walk through the front door?
Exactly. If dinner takes more than 30 minutes, I start looking for snacks while I wait.
That's dangerous. A few snacks can easily become a second dinner.
Don't remind me. I always tell myself, I'll just have one biscuit. Somehow, the packet ends up much lighter.
I think we've all been there. That's why I try not to keep too many snacks in the kitchen.
Really? Does that actually work?
Most of the time. If the snacks aren't there, I'm much more likely to cook something instead.
That's a clever idea. My problem is that I go grocery shopping when I'm hungry, and suddenly everything looks delicious.
Oh, that's a classic mistake. I once came home with 3 different desserts and forgot to buy milk.
That's brilliant. Your shopping basket was definitely following your stomach instead of your shopping list.
I can't even argue with that. It was completely true.
So, what's your favorite evening meal? Do you have one dish you never get tired of?
I'd probably say a warm bowl of pasta. It's simple, comforting, and I don't need to think too much while cooking.
That's a good choice. Mine changes all the time, but I never say no to homemade rice with vegetables and a little yogurt on the side.
That sounds delicious. I think food tastes even better when you're finally home and you don't have to rush anywhere.
I agree. Maybe that's why dinner feels so special in the evening. It's not only about the food. It's also the first quiet moment of the day when you can simply sit down and enjoy it.
That's a lovely way to put it. No phones, no meetings, no rushing. Just good food and a little conversation.
You know what's funny? Sometimes I finish dinner, look at the clock, and realize it's only 7:30. It feels much later.
I know that feeling. Some evenings seem to move slowly. And honestly, I don't mind that at all.
Me neither. I actually enjoy evenings that don't have a plan. They're the most relaxing.
That's interesting, because people often think they have to do something productive every minute.
Exactly. There's this little voice that says, you should clean the house. You should answer your emails. You should learn something new.
And before you know it, your relaxing evening starts feeling like another workday.
Yes. Sometimes the best thing you can do is nothing.
I agree. We've become so used to being busy that relaxing can almost feel strange.
Do you ever sit on the sofa and think, I should probably be doing something, even when you're tired?
More often than I'd like to admit. Then I remind myself that resting isn't wasting time. It's part of taking care of yourself.
I like that. Resting isn't wasting time. I think a lot of people need to hear that.
We all need a little balance. Of course, there are evenings when I enjoy reading a book or watching a documentary, but I never force myself to be productive just because I feel guilty.
I'm the opposite. I usually choose something light, A funny TV show, a few videos online, or music playing quietly while I tidy up a little.
I totally agree. Music can completely change the mood of a room.
It really can. Sometimes one good song is enough to make the whole day feel better.
Do you have an evening playlist?
Oh, absolutely. Nothing too energetic, though. If I play dance music, I'll probably end up singing into a wooden spoon instead of cleaning the kitchen.
Now that's an image I wasn't expecting.
Don't pretend you've never done something similar.
Well, I may have used a cooking spoon as a microphone once or twice.
Once or twice? That sounds suspiciously specific.
Fine, maybe a few more times than that. Thankfully, there wasn't an audience.
That's the best kind of concert. Free tickets, one performer, and absolutely no judges.
Unless your neighbors are listening through the wall.
Then they get a free show too.
You know, moments like these are probably what make evenings memorable. Nothing exciting has to happen. It's usually the small, silly moments that stay with us.
I was just thinking the same thing. We often imagine a perfect evening has to be something big, but maybe it's just feeling comfortable enough to laugh at yourself.
I think you've just answered the question we started with.
Have I?
Yes. A perfect evening isn't about having the perfect plan. It's about ending the day feeling peaceful, comfortable, and maybe sharing a few laughs along the way.
I totally agree with you. You know, Joey, we've been talking about our perfect evenings for quite a while.
We have. And now I'm wondering what everyone listening is thinking.
Me too. I have a feeling there are going to be lots of different answers.
So, if you're listening while you're at home, on a walk, or even on your way home from work, think about this for a moment.
What does a perfect evening look like for you?
Maybe it's spending time with your family.
Maybe it's ordering your favorite food because you don't feel like cooking.
Maybe it's sitting on your balcony with a cup of tea.
Or maybe it's simply changing into comfortable clothes and finally relaxing after a busy day.
There's no right or wrong answer. Everyone has their own little routine, and that's what makes it interesting.
We'd love to hear about yours. If you're listening our today's episode, please tell us in the comments. What's one thing you always look forward to in the evening?
It could be something as simple as taking your dog for a walk, reading a few pages of a book, calling a friend, or watching the sunset.
Or maybe your perfect evening is completely different from ours. And that's the fun part. We get to learn from each other.
Here's another question for you. If you could spend one perfect evening anywhere in the world, where would it be?
That's a difficult one.
Is it?
Definitely. Part of me wants to choose a quiet cabin in the mountains, but another part of me wants to sit by the ocean and listen to the waves.
I think I'd choose a small cafe in a peaceful town. Somewhere with good coffee, soft music, and no reason to look at the time.
That sounds lovely. See, even when we imagine the perfect evening, we don't think about expensive things or exciting adventures.
You're right. Most of the time, happiness comes from simple moments that make us feel calm, comfortable, and connected.
So now it's your turn. We'd really enjoy reading your answers. And who knows, maybe your idea of a perfect evening will inspire someone else.
And if you enjoyed spending this evening with us, don't forget to like this video and subscribe to our channel so you won't miss our next conversation.
We'd love to have you back.
All right, before we say goodbye, let's take a few minutes to review some of the useful words and expressions you heard in today's conversation.
Don't worry if you missed a few of them. We'll go through each one together.
All right, everyone, it's time for our favorite part of the podcast, our vocabulary review.
And don't worry, we're not giving you a test.
Well, maybe just a tiny one.
A friendly one.
Here's how it works. We'll look at some words we used today, explain what they mean, and show you how you can use them in real conversations.
If you already know a word, that's great. If it's new to you, try saying it out loud with us.
Let's start with an easy one. We talked about changing into comfortable clothes after getting home.
So, Joey, what does comfortable mean?
It means something that makes you feel relaxed or at ease. Comfortable clothes aren't too tight, and a comfortable chair is one you can happily sit in for a long time.
I have an example. These shoes look nice, but they aren't very comfortable.
That's a perfect example.
Here's the next one. You said making a simple dinner was a sensible choice.
Right. What do you think sensible means?
Making a smart or practical decision?
Exactly. A sensible choice is one that makes good sense.
I have one example for this. Taking an umbrella on a rainy day is a sensible idea.
That's a great example, Phoebe. And I described pasta as comforting food.
I love that word because it doesn't only describe food.
That's true. Something comforting makes you feel calm, safe, or happy.
For example, a warm blanket can be comforting. A hug can be comforting. Even hearing a friend's voice can be comforting after a difficult day.
These are very beautiful examples, Phoebe.
Thanks, Joey. And we also talked about feeling like we should always be productive.
What does productive mean?
It means you're getting useful things done. Maybe you're studying, working, cleaning, or finishing a project.
And remember, you don't have to be productive every single evening. Rest is important too. Here's another useful word: guilty.
That's the feeling you get when you think you've done something wrong. Or maybe when you eat one biscuit and suddenly realize you've eaten 6.
That's a very realistic example.
I felt guilty because I forgot to call my grandmother.
Perfect. Before we finish, let's look at a couple of expressions you heard during today's conversation.
One of my favorites was look forward to.
If you look forward to something, you're excited because it's going to happen in the future.
For example, I look forward to Friday evenings because I can finally relax. We also said, take your time.
That's something you say when there's no need to hurry.
Take your time. The movie doesn't start for another 20 minutes.
Here's one we used without thinking about it. End up.
Like when I said one slipper always ends up in the living room.
Exactly. End up means the final result of a situation, often something you didn't expect.
We planned to go to the park, but we ended up staying home because it rained.
And that's today's vocabulary, everyone.
We hope you heard a few new words, but even more importantly, we hope you heard how people actually use them in everyday conversations.
You don't need to memorize everything today. If you hear these words again and again, they'll start to feel natural.
Exactly. Learning a language isn't about being perfect. It's about getting a little more confident every time you listen and speak.
Well, that brings us to the end of today's conversation.
We hope this episode helped you relax, learn a few new words, and maybe even think about your own perfect evening.
And remember, there isn't one right answer. A perfect evening doesn't have to be exciting or expensive.
Sometimes it's a quiet dinner. Sometimes it's a walk outside. Sometimes it's laughing at yourself because you open the refrigerator 3 times for no reason.
I still think something interesting might appear the 4th time.
Well, if it does, you have to tell all of us in the next episode. And before we go, here's a small speaking challenge for you.
We'd love for you to practice using today's vocabulary.
Try answering this question in English. What does your perfect evening look like?
You don't have to use difficult words. Just speak for 30 seconds or even 1 minute. Describe what you like to do, where you are, who you're with, or how you feel.
Leave your answer in the comments. We really enjoy reading them, and they also help other English learners see different ways to express the same idea.
If you make a small mistake, don't worry about it. Every conversation is another chance to improve.
That's exactly how confidence grows, one sentence at a time.
If you enjoyed today's episode, don't forget to subscribe or follow the podcast so you don't miss our next conversation.
Next time, we'll be talking about another everyday topic to help you understand and speak natural English with more confidence.
Until then, take your time. Keep listening, keep speaking.
And don't forget to enjoy the little moments in your day.
Thanks for spending your evening with us.
Take care, everyone.
Bye, everyone.